recruiter or interviewer, they will look that actually, in your resume first, okay, because your project plays a major role. Okay, so it's important for you to use some platform that is our platform or the components, etc. Use in the industry in your project. That's the first thing, and the second thing is that you need to have these skill set, these details, in your resume actually. Then only your resume will get shortlisted, because every company receives hundreds of or thousands of resume. So they will screen it based on your skill set actually. So it's important for you to have skill set in the components or the tools used in industry, so you will get a very high chance of interview call actually. Okay, so that's the reason I'll be covering this part here. Okay, so in microprocessor, if you see, you have a different type of architecture. Okay, so if you see like a ARM processor has different within that different type of ARM processors, very low into very high end ARM processors. Okay, and in industry, more than 50% of the companies across the globe, in any domain you take it actually, so they use ARM processor. Okay, so ARM has very low end ARM Cortex series to very high end processors. So you can see some of these processors, especially for machine learning applications. So this is what again yesterday I was talking. Machine learning is not only software, and it's a combination of software plus the knowledge in electronics, because you need to have a good knowledge on the processor architecture to implement the machine learning algorithms actually. Okay, so you can also see there are specialized processors from ARM for cloud applications and security, network security type of applications and so on. Okay, so they have a specific process for neural network. And if you see like these type of processors are very very powerful actually. It can even do some of the signal processing applications also. That's why if you see in most of the mobile phones, it's based on ARM processors actually. I mean the high end ARM processors. Okay, and you have other type of processors or controllers, so from NXP, Texas Instrument, Microchip, and ST. Even say like NXP or Texas Instrument or even ST Microelectronics also has a different type of ARM processors. Okay, and then you have low power processors from Texas Instruments called MSP 430. It's typically used in battery operated applications. Then you have signal controllers from, again, this is from Texas Instruments. Okay, and then you have a pick series of microcontrollers actually. Okay, so it's important, suppose you are doing a project. Okay, and it's better to do the project in ARM based processor. That will be very beneficial, than doing a project for example in PIC microcontroller or AVR, Atmel AVR, or 8051 base actually. Because more than 50% of the industries on use ARM processors actually, and it's used in low end to very high end applications. So it will be very beneficial for you. Okay, so the second the thing is a DSP. Okay, so you have a DSP processors. So this is used in different type of applications, say from control application to signal processing to image processing, to say like to communication applications. So you have two major vendors, Texas Instrument analog devices. More than 95% of industry use either of this processors. So you have a different type of processors from Texas Instruments. So like you have a pure DSP processors, and you have a combination of DSP plus FPGA, DSP plus ARM processors. Okay, you can so this is a C6 series, a very high end processors, quite expensive ones. So this is used in image processing and network based stations, or in 5G, and or in servers and so on actually. So you can see even it is there up to 8 core actually, or 8 core with 4 core RAM processor, etc. Okay, so then you have a low end signal process called the C55 series. So this is used for normal say like a signal processing applications or control applications, etc., or even in audio applications, audio signal processing and all. Okay, so then you have the other companies analog devices actually. So both of these companies contribute more than 95% of the industry. Okay, so in analog devices, you have a different process like ADSP21 series, then Blackfin and Shark and Tiger Shark. Out of this, Blackfin is widely used in automotive industry. So it's used in software-defined radios or ADAS, or navigation systems, or car audio systems and so on actually. Okay, So if you want to work as a, like for example in automotive domain, it's a good, you can do a project in blackfin processes actually, because that will again give a huge benefit for you during your interview, or even while the resume screening happens actually. Okay, for example Bosch or KPIT or Continental etc., they use the, or Harman etc., they use blackfin process. Okay. So the other was the FPGA. So FPGA is used in every type of industry, because earlier it was used only in high-end industries or big companies, but nowadays it is used even in the small-scale companies, because you get FPGA at a very cheaper rate also nowadays. Say starting from 1,000 rupees onwards actually, for example. So a lot of companies start using. The main reason is that the flexibility. You can configure the FPGA for any type of applications. Okay, or and even FPGA can have its own soft core processors, or even have a hardcore processors etc. Okay, so you have a different type of FPGA. So 7 series, ultra scale, these are quite high performance FPGA. Then you have a system on chip called the Sync series. So this is with FPGA and ARM processor actually. So this is also very widely used in industry. Then this is an example I just want to show you, like you have a very high end have been a computer accelerator platform actually. This is used in supercomputers and 5G base stations and so on actually, because this is very very powerful and fast actually. So it can transfer data over 100 GB, gigabit per second actually. And this has specialized inbuilt engines for artificial intelligence applications and DSP etc. Okay, so this has a multiple ARM processors also within that. Okay. So then you have a processor FPGAs from Intel or Ultra. I mean, it was originally Ultra and later Intel acquired the company. Okay, so you have a different type of FPGAs again here. So some are with ARM processors. So for example, this Agilex series that's coming with ARM processors, and others are normal FPGAs actually. So again, if somebody is interested, they can work on this FPGAs also. It's good. First thing you need to understand is that most of your project, whatever you will be planning for your final year in BE or even ME or MTech, you can use any of this platform to implement. Okay, but so it's a good to implement it either in a DSP or FPGA, because then you will get a better visibility or benefit in your resume. Because anyway, you will be doing studying ARM processors during your third or final year actually. So you will be doing some experiments, right? So instead of doing it the same thing in AM again, you can move to a DSP or FPGA, and that will make a huge difference actually when your resume will be screened etc. Okay, and this is a bit high level block diagram of IoT. So IoT has a nodes, then gateway, and then you have a cloud. I mean at the end actually. So I just want to show you here, if somebody want to work in IoT, because IoT is used in every applications now, whether it is industrial, medical, in this robotics, or in any multiple app, or even in home appliance and so on actually. Okay, so if you want to go in this domain, you should have good knowledge on hardware and software, and also you need to know about the communication protocols actually, which is used in a wireless domain actually. Okay, so I will tell actually, like about the short-term courses or online platform where you can learn all those things later. So in a node, or even the router, when everything started. For example, node starts with a sensor, and then you will have a signal conditioning circuit actually. So you'll have some amplification, filtering, etc. Then you will have a processors. Then you will have some communication module actually for Wi-Fi transfer. Okay, so depending on applications, so typically it will be very low power processors actually in many of the applications. Okay, and then you will have a power management circuit, because most of the time node will work from battery, so you need to manage the power. Why you need to know? Suppose you want to go in this domain, and if you want to be embedded software engineer for IoT type of applications, still you need to know about the hardware, because you need to know the behavior of the signals, how this sensor output is coming, and how to do the filtering. Sometime you may get false trigger and other things actually, like for example, if sensors in automotive, sometime what happens is that if a temperature varies and all, then your output also will vary, but you need to consider those things, and you need to correct it in the software. So you need to know the behavior, and then you need to know how the errors happening in the ADCs and op amps etc. So all of the things you need to correct. So you need to know both actually, hardware and software. Okay, so that's very important. So even in gateway you have a high end process, and then in cloud you have a very high end processors actually. So this is one of the example from Texas Instruments. So you can see one of the server, I mean very high end DSP is used actually, yeah. So DSP plus ARM processor. So it's like use actually, and they have a lot of for example high end processors for this type of applications actually. That processors has the softwares required or the protocols required for Zigbee and different type of protocols actually, Bluetooth, etc. You will get all the support also, so the implementation will be even easier. Okay. So generally, if you want to go in IoT, you need to have a good knowledge on the various communication protocols. So like I say, I2C, SPA, which I've told you yesterday. Then you need to know about the wireless protocols actually. Wireless protocols. Maybe like say like starting from Bluetooth to Wi-Fi, say 802.11. So that type of interface and so on. Actually, that's very important. And again, there's a neural network or machine learning, etc. That again, can be implemented in processor. I mean, you need to understand one thing here, because this is used in even in a washing machine to any type of application. Washing machine, to detect the cloth weight, and so detect the dirt and other things actually. Okay, because sometimes what happens, you keep on washing, the machine will learn actually. For example, in many of the Map My India navigation system, they have a machine learning algorithm already implemented. So first, when you drive, for example, first time, they will calculate the time required to reach your destination, okay, based on the distance. Okay, so first time they will calculate the normal way, and then next time, depending on your driving style, they will adapt it actually. So it will not be always same actually. For example, 200 kilometer you take 4 hours to reach, and suppose somebody drive very fast, they can reach in 3 hours. Okay, suppose based on your driving behavior, it keep on updating actually. So it's used in all type of applications. So again, to go in this domain, you need to know about the hardware, because at the end, it will be implemented in some processors or DSPs or FPGA. So you need to know it's used in different type of applications, in classification to object detection. It is used even in uh, you know the the food industries and other things. Okay, so for example, when the companies like this Unilever or Hindustan Liver, etc., when they make some biscuits and other things, even they do check all those things actually. Like they will check whether any crack is there, or some companies like Tata Steels, for example, they will make a bigger steel plates, etc. So they will do X-ray scanning of it actually, to see whether any cracks are there internal, because it's very important. So then what they do is that they will have a lot of machine learning algorithm, which will do automated, automated identification of these patterns actually of cracks actually. Sometimes it's a very thin crack, you still can accept it actually. So it keep on you when you use you keep on using for a classification purpose actually. And in factory it is also used for object detection and other things actually. And it is used very well in a medical domain, mainly for image segmentation or classification of disease and so on actually. So a lot of applications, but in the end, it will be implemented in a hardware or in a high end PC actually. Okay. So you need to know the hardware really to go there, and it's not for computer science students alone. Okay, it's also for electronic students. Okay, so again, machine learning is can be implemented in an FPGA. So FPGA also architecture is also optimized for that application nowadays. Okay, now I will talk on the schematic captures, simulation, and the layout tools used in industry. This is required for somebody who want to go in hardware domain. So we have a majorly two tools available. One is Cadence and Mentor Graphics. At least 80% of the industry uses it. That there are other tools like Altium and CADStar, Sukan, CADStar, etc. But that is not that much use, you can say. The advantage of both the Cadence and Metagraphics is that they have a tool say starting from the schematic design, layout design, then simulation at circuit level, and also the layout level. In layout level, it is very important for you to simulate, because otherwise what happens, sometimes when you place the two components very close to each other, without considering anything, or even without doing simulation, like once actually you make the PCB and then assemble the component and start operating it, it will impact actually. So it's very important for to do the signal integrity and simulation checks, etc. I mean, so there you will check the behavior of your signal actually when the device is operating. So they will simulate the signals. They will enter the amplitude, the voltage, I mean amplitude, then the frequency and so on actually. So they will the tool will find actually that. Okay, so you have tools from Ender Graphics. This is also very popular. So over 80% of the industry use either one of them. So if you know either one of them, that's good enough actually, because other one you can anyway learn. Okay, so mentor graphics, you have a different tools like expedition one for schematic design, then for layout design. Then hyperlinks is mainly used for a simulation. This is used for say like a signal integrity or electromagnetic emission simulations. Okay, and in addition to that, this is also used for thermal simulation. You can see it here actually, because in any PCB you take, you will have a different type of components. Okay, so when the components start operating actually, when the system start operating, the components also will get heated up actually. So that will affect the performance of your system. Okay, one thing. And the second thing is that it will affect the reliability of your product actually. So you need to have some cooling mechanism and all. So probably you may have seen your PC and all, but there is a fan and big heat sink, etc., right? That is for reducing the temperature actually, and to remove the heat generated by the components. Okay, so this simulation tool helps to identify the location in the PCBA or in the components where the temperature goes up actually. So that will help to really identify the suitable heat sink, etc. Okay. Okay. So then for FPGA design, you have tools from the, Xilinx or Intel. So whenever you develop anything on FPGA, you'll have to use either Xilinx ISE. So that's for older generations of FPGA, and Vivado is for our all new series of FPGA. So this is used for simulation and everything, HDL code development, simulation, and finally synthesis and everything. Okay. Then from Intel, you have Intel Cortex tools, and so model sim is used for normally simulation, actually timing simulation and other things. Okay, so if somebody want to work in FPGA, you have to learn all of things. Then for IC design, you have tools from Synopsys and Cadence. You have front end tools and back end say physical design tools. Okay, so this is very important for you to know, because most of the colleges will not able to purchase this because it's very expensive. So this is important for you when you are suppose somebody want to do course in VLSI design, and before you finalize your in institute where you will be doing the training, you need to first check whether they have the tools or not. That's very important. That's how sometimes what happen, some institute will teach some tools which is not really used in industry. I mean very old tools actually, so you don't do that actually. Always try to do it on the latest tools or the components whatever you use in industry. That will be very useful actually. It should not be very old tools, for example, because that will not add that much benefit to you. Okay. Then, as I told before, MATLAB is mandatory. Really, anybody want to be in embedded software, either in signal processing or normal embedded software or IoT. You can see that MATLAB is used in proof of concept simulation and algorithm development. You can see it is used in every application, starting say from control system to power electronics design to robotics. To automotive to image processing. You please understand that MATLAB is not only for signal processing; it's used for any application in communication and everywhere actually. And it's even used for FPGAs also now. Like your MATLAB packages are there for FPGAs, so that will convert to HDL or C++, etc. It is used for even a GPU development also. So learning MATLAB is a mandatory for you. Anybody who want to go in embedded software, okay. I mean embedded software or signal processing or artificial intelligence or machine learning. It's a mandatory. Okay, and apart from that, you have simply nowadays a lot of model based designs also happen actually. Like you would do make the model of anything, do the simulation. So there is some in the model Simulink is widely used, and I am sure that you will be having this software in your college. So make use of it actually compulsorily. Okay, and then you have LabVIEW. So this is a graphical user interface programming technique. So this is mainly used for automation and say testing and other purpose. But again, LabVIEW is also a module for FPGA. So you can develop the program in LabVIEW and it can be converted to HDL actually. So that's also there. Okay, now I will talk about how to enhance your career prospects. The first and foremost thing for you to have is that to know and do in your engineering is that you do maximum projects as much as possible. Try to do many small projects. For example, you do some online course. Okay, so you learn something actually. Try to implement that in a processor or FPGA or DSP, etc. I'm sure that your college will be having various evaluation, but try to implement something there. You can add all of that. So by doing that, you will learn about that actually. And because to implement you need to know about the architecture of the processor also, I mean, and the features of other peripherals there also actually. And then that way you will learn the tools, the software. And then you, because you will get a lot of support and the examples etc from net actually. You try to do maximum there, these things actually, because that will add a huge value actually to your resume. Okay. And other thing is that doing a masters is highly beneficial if you're going in R&D. Then you can do some short-term courses or online learning. I will talk about that later. Then doing in projects in industry is also good, because you will get to know about the way industry works actually. And then you will establish some contact and network. Again, that will help you nowadays. Most of the recruitments and our hiring, everything happens through networking and other things. So you have a good network, so people will guide you really. So like nowadays a lot of positions are not coming directly through their website and other things, or job consultants. They will sometime put in LinkedIn, and sometime even they will not put it actually. They will hire the find the candidates actually through LinkedIn and other things. So you having a good network will help you really to identify those things. It's very important for whether you are a fresher or an experienced person, huh? It's that like that. Okay. And then doing internship is again highly beneficial. I'll talk on that later. Then you can publish some papers in some journals and patents etc. This is useful both to get job in industry, and also if you are going for higher studies in abroad, it's very very beneficial for you to get this scholarship actually. Okay, because they will not just see your GRE score or anything, yeah? So that's only one part actually. It all depending on your what all projects you did, how many papers you publish, everything makes a huge difference. Okay, then as I told before, networking with seniors and industry people, that will really make you aware, like what is the expectation from industry, what all things I need to learn. Okay. I mean, and then you will get to know about the positions and all, because sometimes people will not be aware, like there are too many for many companies. For example, you take in the, say like a lot of companies are there in Ahmedabad or in Surat. Mainly they are making weighing scale. Okay, if you take a weighing scale, it's a good device. But somebody who's working in that design, they can learn a lot of things, because for example, the weighing scale used measuring the weight of for example gold actually. It should be so accurate. Okay, so somebody who is working in that, for example, I will use say like a 24-bit ADCs and DSCs etc, analog to digital converters and so on. So those are very precision electronics. Okay, so you need to be very accurate and other things. So you will get a lot of knowledge in by doing such work actually. So that's what like when you network with the seniors and industry people, you'll get to know such companies. Okay, don't look always on big companies. There are a lot of small companies where at the end, your career growth and the salary, everything depending on your technical skills, not on the salary what you get as from the campus. I mean, from campus recruitment or off campus in the beginning. That will not stay longer. So everything matter, depending on your skill set and experience, because that will decide your salary. So to have a good salary, you should have good skill set, and you should have experience in core technologies. Okay, that's a disadvantage of IT company, where say like 90% of the work will be in normal software, only 10% they work on embedded and other things actually. So that's main thing actually you need to understand also. Okay. So in the, as I told you, internship is one of the most important aspect in your engineering. Internship will help you, in a multiple ways. One is, that it will make you to understand, how whatever theory you study, how that is implemented in practical applications actually. Okay, so that will give you a better understanding actually. What all things you did, learned and how it is implemented in industry. Okay, and the other thing is that this will also help you to understand more, the way industry works, how the way they do the projects, the tools they use actually. And this will also help you to get a good network actually. Suppose you do internship. Okay, you can do internship say from third semester onwards. After third semester onwards, you can say. So you have a summer break, so you have semester break maybe a week or two, so you can do say like 1 or 2 week small activities. Okay, sometime you can go to a manufacturing company, so you can understand how the products are manufactured, how the testing happens actually, and so on. However, you can go say like in a quality department to see like how they are doing incoming inspection or outgoing inspection etc, because these are something which you can learn. Again, as I told you, R&D or a product development, it's a combination of everything. It starts from the concept, the production, everything. So it's important for you to know each and every aspects of it. Then only you can design a product actually very well. Okay, so you can try, you can go for a, doing internship in a manufacturing company, say for example, if you take, MG Hector, but say factory, you can go there and do it, though it is a mechanical, still you will learn, because there are a lot of automated technologies are there, and robotics and all. Then, they have a lot of machine vision things, just to once the car is painted and manufactured, they need to see whether any dent is there, if the painting is proper, they have a lot of cameras and other techniques are there, which they will capture the image and they will analyze it actually, so you will get exposure to such things actually. Okay, and then again, doing a internship will enhance your personality. Say in the terms of like good communication skills, you will learn, you will learn how to talk to people and other things actually, and that will again, help you to get the job in the same company. And it's a, you can try for internship in smaller companies or in startup, it will be more easier. There are a lot of companies, even if you take, in Ahmedabad or in say like Surat, etc., meaning even in weighing scale, or we such type of applications actually, for example. Okay, don't think it's a small device, but it's a very complex device, it has to say measure the weight so accurately, yeah, in milligram level actually. So really you'll get a good exposure there, like, so by the analog electronics, and then some embedded other thing, because again, finally you have to display your result and so on. So like in all type of interface you will get actually. Okay, so you can try yourself actually, say from third semester break onward, onwards actually, you find, identify the companies, contact them. But again, before you're trying for internship, you should have some technical skills, but suppose you studied some subject, you should be very clear on that, because they will have a generally an interview actually, they will not give you internship as it is, they will ask a lot of questions. So you should be very clear on the subjects what you have studied actually till then. Okay, then I will talk on the specialized the courses actually to enhance your career. I will start from embedded system IoT to VLS, FPGAs and DSP image processing, artificial intelligence, then electronics product design, electromagnetic compatibility. These last two are for hardware designer. Somebody who want to go in hardware design, they can do it. Okay, so embedded system, typically they will teach on the processors, RTOS. They will teach on IoTs. Then they will teach on the product design aspect. Then they will teach maybe C or C++ there. A lot of institutes are offering these courses. So you can say like the CDAC also is offering the course. So they have got a very good placement actually. Okay, so suppose you do the course from there, you're almost placed, that way, in a core field. So for example, Wipro or TCS hire somebody from CDAC. Okay, so CDAC embedded system students, definitely they'll put them in a embedded system project only. That's a difference there. So you'll be getting in core projects actually. That's the biggest advantage you have there. Okay, because they will be teaching many things, so that your resume will have a lot of skill set actually than fresher students who don't do such courses. Okay, so that's the advantage of this type of trainings. Then IoT also, CDAC is offering courses actually, so you can do there. They will teach on the IoT protocols, wireless technology, cloud computing, and programming language like C, Python, etc. Then they will teach on the processors, they'll teach on RTOS and so on. Okay, so VLSI is a bit a critical one, because VLSI you always say like front end design and back end design, and then verification and the other things also. So you need to be very careful when you select the institute. You need to really look into the course content, and to see whether it is suitable for front end or back end. Okay, and you need to be very clear on the tools. That is the main reason that I have shown you the tools used in the industry. Okay, most of the IC design companies use these tools, synopsis or cadence. Okay, so you have to be very clear. I mean, you should check with the institute whether they have the tools or not, then only you should join. Okay, so there are a lot of institutes offering the course. Again, CDAC is there, but CDAC is mainly front end design. But a lot of institutes are there in Bangalore actually, where they'll teach, for example, Sandeepani and all. So they will teach a lot on the back end and verification aspects, and layout and other things actually. So somebody who's interested, they should really look into the syllabus and take a decision. Okay, then for DSP and image processing also, there are courses. So they will teach on the DSP concepts, they will teach on the processor architecture, they will teach on various algorithms used in signal processing or image processing, they will teach on MATLAB, etc. And mainly institutes in Bangalore are only offering these courses actually. So you can look actually, like Cranes Varsity is there in Bangalore, that's quite good, and so on. And AI and the machine learning, again, it's offered by CDAC. Again, there are many other institutes, so they will teach on artificial intelligence and neural network. They will teach on machine learning and natural language processing. They'll teach on Python and R, that is widely used actually there in whenever you are doing it on a PC based application. Okay, when you are doing it in any in product actually, so that will be done normally in C or C++. Then they will teach on data analytics and the basic maths or statistic record for this application. Okay, so an electronics product design, it's a specialized course that's offered at NILT or CDAC actually, mainly in Calicut, Chandigarh, Hyderabad, etc. This is for pure hardware designer. Somebody who want to go in hardware design, it's good to do these courses. So they will teach on the hardware design, interface techniques. They will teach on the processor FPGA architectures. They will teach some part of software development, then electronics packaging and industrial design, and so on actually. They will teach a lot on the PCB design, theories and other things also. Then for electromagnetic compatibility, again, as I told yesterday, it's a part of regulatory testing and it's very, very important actually. So there are few days courses, offered at a CET and Samir, both are central government organizations. So uh, you can do these courses, somebody who want to go in a hardware domain actually. So now I'll talk on some online courses. So you have various platforms, various websites where you can do the courses, starting from NVTL to Coursera to EDX or LinkedIn Learning and so on actually. So you can do in multiple domains actually. So I suggest students, at least when you start from third year onwards, try to some courses actually which you will not be studying in your college. For example, if machine learning or artificial intelligence is not there or IoT is not there, you can learn there that courses. Okay, and also image processing and so on. Actually, you can do that course. Okay, and the only problem with this type of course is that you will not get much practical exposure here. I mean, because in training center, like you will have a practicals actually. You will have the development boards and other things actually. So in this case, what you can do is that you can learn the courses, do the courses, learn it, and then you can implement all those things in some of the processors or FPGA boards or DSP boards in your college actually. That way you can compensate. You learn the theory and some experiments will be there. You can do it actually and so on actually. By that you can learn. Okay. So try to do at least a couple of courses in your curriculum. Whether you want to go in say hardware or software, still we learn IoT and FPGAs and other things actually. That's very important. Okay. And these are some of the evaluation boards I'm talking. And actually this is for like a self learning, or it can be used in your project also. So one is like a Raspberry Pi. Those are very high end board actually, so that's with the high end ARM processors and all. So you can interface with a monitor, a PC and other things, so you can learn a lot of communication protocols here. And you can use it in your you can interface various devices to this you can interface your hardware to this board actually. And this is quite good. See, these are the problem with the Arduino boards. I'm not considering Arduino boards because Arduino boards are with very low end ARM processors, and nowadays, like I mean, most of the Arduino boards are not really that good also actually. So they have limited peripherals and other things actually. So it's good to use the Raspberry Pi boards actually. These are quite advanced ones actually. Okay. So then if somebody is interested in DSP, so they can go for this type of boards, like say this is 55 series from Texas Instruments, and then you have a 67 series. These are for high-end image processing applications, and this is unlocked device boards. This is based on Blackfin actually, so you can use for speech recognition or any type of applications. For example. Then for FPGA, you can get the boards from Intel or Xilinx. So I just covered here only Xilinx. So you can have the Sync series board, as I told earlier. This is a combination of FPGA plus a processor, high-end ARM processor. Then you have a normal Spartan series of FPGA, which you can use in your project. You can interface your hardware to this. You can communicate to PC and so on actually. For example, you can have a camera webcam, you can connect, you can acquire some image. You can detect some object here, and you can send that to a mobile or phone or something like that, for as an alert actually. Because this is there in car also nowadays. Car dash cams are there. Okay, so that has set a mechanism actually. Where, it will capture some image, and if some unwanted entry or something is there, it will immediately send the message to mobile phone actually, like that. So such things you can think about actually in your projects. Okay, so now I'll talk on the focus subjects for interview. So you need to understand one thing actually. Whether you're going in embedded software, signal processing or image processing, still you need to know about electronic subjects well, because in interview they will ask the questions on that. That's very important. So need to focus on the subjects what you will be studying in your college. I mean, whatever books, you learn on that actually. Say, you need to know about the op amps, ADCs, and so on actually. And also you need to know about the communication protocol. They will ask you to, draw the communication protocol block diagrams. Then maybe how the register looks like. For example, in interview they'll, ask you to draw about the processor architecture, and the function of each of it, and so on actually. I mean everything, and sometimes they'll ask you to write a small program and so on actually. Okay, they will ask you to show how it will be executed in a processor and so on. Okay, so it all depends actually. uh, then for hardware or VLSI, you need to focus more on electronic subjects actually, and electromagnetics and so on. That's very important. Okay, so now the next steps are like, I mean, when you after your you've been engineering or masters, like, first and foremost thing is that you need to have a very good resume and covering letter. You need to understand one thing. The company will see the resume first, okay, and the resume is the major to part they will be use actually to decide the candidates actually. Okay, so your resume should be so good. It should have like, all the skills what is expected by industry actually. So that's what I've shown you that before actually yesterday. Okay, so you should have those things. It should highlight you the projects, the internship details, paper published, patterns, trainings, and everything. Okay, it should be a good. So really, like, a resume is like a marketing, tool actually. Really, you should have very good resume, then only you will get the interview call. Okay, so that you need to be very clear. And at the same time, resume should not have any errors, like grammatical or spelling mistake. And also you should write something which you have really know, or you have done actually. Don't write just for the sake of writing, because whatever you have written in your resume, see, in interview they will ask the questions both on the fundamentals and also on the skills what you have written in resume. Suppose you written something in, say, like, you have written Verilog, okay, and you are not aware of Verilog, they may ask you to do write some small codes actually. Then you will not able to write, then you are rejected straight away. So you have to be very, very careful actually. Whatever you have to study your resume, I would say. Okay, whatever is written in the resume you should know very well actually. That's very important. Then the second thing is that, as I told, like, LinkedIn is the the best tool, or the platform available, in the world now. Because every company around the world, they find the candidates, they or put the advertisement, or off campus, or whatever, everything in LinkedIn actually. Okay, because companies are, for example, HR managers are finding the candidates through that actually. They will directly, nowadays, the job the job strategy is different actually. For example, experienced people and all, like, you need not really try. HR themselves, or consultant themselves, will find you in LinkedIn, and they will contact you actually, like that. So same way for freshers also. In LinkedIn you have multiple advantages. One is that, whenever you follow a company or you connect with HR manager, you will get to know about the off campus interview happens, or sometime, there will be smaller startups and other things actually, where they need freshers, and sometimes internship opportunities, everything we will get to know from LinkedIn. It will not be put in a company website, because company website they will not update actually, because that's a little difficult task, and somebody need to be there. LinkedIn, just you copy and put it actually. So you need to have a good LinkedIn profile. You connect. Suppose you are interested in VLS domain. Okay, well, the best thing what you could do is that, you follow the companies like, say, Texas Instrument, all the semiconductor companies, then service company like Wipro, Infochips, or all these companies. Okay, and you can connect with some HR managers of that company. So what happens is that, your LinkedIn profile will be visible to more people. So suppose, if they are looking for some freshers and all, so your profile will be visible to them. So then there is a very high chance that you will get a call actually from them. Okay, so this is very important thing. And next is like, you can register some job sites and all. Okay, and the last is the most important thing actually. You assume you are placed already, and you're working actually, you're an experienced person. Still, you need to keep on learning actually, because technology keep on changing, your processes or whatever architecture keep on changing. So you have to be always be ready to learn actually. Okay, and second thing is that, you need to do some, you can do some short term courses, online learning, etc. Then doing masters is always good. Somebody who has masters, possibly, you can even do doctorate, because even in industry also, having doctorate is also beneficial actually, at the senior roles, or other things actually. Okay, so now I will talk at very high level on a product company. Okay, so in a product company you will have a business leader. Okay, you take a example of say, Tata, okay, Tata Motors, for example. Okay, so they will have a business leader, okay, who will be responsible for the complete business, okay, for passenger car. Okay, so then under him there will be R&D head, quality head, factory head, then HR and finance heads, then procurement, marketing, and service. Okay, so this is the high level organization. Now I'll bit to talk on R&D organization. R&D, you will have R&D head, then you will have project managers, okay, and they will manage the project. Then you will have engineering manager, they will be responsible for the complete product development, and engineers and architects will work with them under them, engineering manager. Then you have a quality and regulatory managers, okay, so they will ensure the quality and regulatory requirements met actually in the product. Okay, so these are some of the positions available in industry, I mean in R&D organization. Typically in R&D also you will have quality, regulatory, and purchase engineers. Actually purchase engineers are required to procure the components. Okay, so I've told you about it yesterday. So the green highlighted the profiles are for freshers. Okay, suppose Tata Motors hire you, they won't offer you really a job, I mean your department or the role in the first instance. Actually what happens is that once you are recruited, okay, you will join the company, they will give you training and all, then they will again screen your resume, and they may again most of the time conduct one more round of interview to assess actually your skill sets and knowledge, and also they will ask look at your interest also. Okay, suppose assume that you are interested in R&D, okay, say like a software design, but you are not good, okay, and your knowledge is not sufficient enough, then they will give you other options. They will ask you, maybe you can work in testing or maybe in quality and other things actually. Okay, so like you really don't have any control over that. Actually everything depending on your skill set and knowledge what you have. So don't assume that you got a job and I mean that means everything is done. It's nothing is done. Actually it's just the beginning for you. So any company you go, in a product company or anywhere, because there are different job profiles. Actually for experienced person it is different, because they will be hiring for this particular position, but for a fresher it is not like that. It's a open hiring actually. Okay, so it's important for you to have the right skill set, and also you need to know like what are the activities in or the expectation, and the profile of each job. That's what I told you also in yesterday slide. Okay, so in R&D career path is like if you're in R&D, you can go in both in technical ladder or a managerial ladder. Suppose somebody is purely interested in technical, they can go as a principal architect or chief engineer. Or if somebody is interested in manager role, you can become a manager, say like after 10 years or something like that. Okay, and if somebody is interested in project management, you can become a project manager. Okay, now I will tell you when MBA is useful. Suppose if somebody want to say your career plan is like you want to become an engineering manager or say project manager, it is good to do MBA after having at least 5 years of your experience. That means you need at least 4 to 5 years to become a project lead or tech lead. Okay, so you should do MBA only at that point in time actually. And most of the companies will sponsor you for MBA, and you can do executive MBA actually. So that's highly beneficial. Don't do in the beginning actually if you want to work in R&D, because it will not add any value actually. Do it after 5 years of your experience, or after you complete 5 years of your job and so on. So that will be helpful actually. And you need to decide to see like companies, you'll have a performance evaluation, so they will definitely ask your expectation what you want to be there, right? Because they will see your career in interest actually, and then they will assess based on your skills also. Okay, so that way you have to decide. So if you want to be in a pure technical, you should be having a very good technical knowledge, so you need to understand that also. So technically you have a lot of options to grow. I mean a principal architect, this is all very highly paid. Say like when you say principal architect, it's like equal to director or a vice president in a organization, very senior positions. Okay, and then yeah, so these are the positions in manufacturing setup. In manufacturing you have plant manager who will take care of the complete factory. You have production manager for production of the equipments and products, then quality manager, and then purchase engineer. So for any freshers who is hired for Tata Motors, okay, so they can be put in either of these. So in production or quality or purchase. Same way, this I was talking about regulatory. So this is an example of a laptop charger. You can see a lot of markings actually. This is required for different countries actually. So there are a lot of positions for this also. So in quality and regulatory, you have positions like quality engineer, then regulatory test engineer, and regulatory engineers, etc. So whenever any company recruit somebody, they can put you in that actually. Again, so you need to know. So with this, I've completed actually. So I have covered all the type of jobs available in industry. Then I may focus purely on R&D later stage actually. Like what all skills that you really want to be in to get a job and survive or for your career growth actually in R&D. So and also I talked about the tools used in industry, so you can say, use those some in your projects, okay, or whenever you do the short term courses or other things, you can use actually those things actually, that will be beneficial for you. So with this, I've completed actually. So now we can have a question and answer sessions, maybe 15 minute or 30 minute actually. I mean, you can ask me any questions actually. I mean, any questions on this thing actually. I mean, on higher education, so the tools or the skill sets, or the type of jobs or whatever it is actually.
Yeah, you can type in the chat box.
Yeah, yeah, you can type actually. I'll answer actually. Anything you can ask actually about your projects or I mean higher studies or anything. LabVIEW scope is good actually, because if you want to be a test engineer, now LabVIEW is used actually. So it's good to learn LabVIEW. I think most of the colleges are also having LabVIEW license actually. So you can, or even you can get a evaluation version of LabVIEW and you can learn it actually. So, when as I told you, testing also you have a lot of opportunities, testing and automation engineers, because nowadays a lot of things you are automating. So LabVIEW and everything is used, because you will be sometime monitoring, the complete, once the system is manufactured, you before shipment, now you will monitor the performance. And also you have to understand one thing, this testing is there both in R&D and manufacturing setup actually. So you have knowledge in LabVIEW, you can be in R&D test engineer, or can be a software test engineer or hardware, or you can be in a production setup. Okay. Yeah, MATLAB also, it's very important actually. You are working in embedded domain or in signal processing or communication or IoT domain. Knowledge in MATLAB is highly useful actually. You can learn that actually, because MATLAB is used for proof of concept simulation and for initial analysis, etc. So you have a lot of uh, scope in that actually. So you'll say, like, so what I would say is that you want to be in a signal processing or an IoT or in embedded software, etc. You should have a knowledge in either C or C++. That is a one mandatory software language you need to know, because in any processor or in DSP your coding you will be doing in C or C++. Okay, so that's very important. And second thing is that MATLAB is also very important. Okay, and I'm sure that you'll have that in your college, and you're learning anyway signal processing in third year of engineering. So you can use that. You can do some experiments and you can learn actually. Okay, and the next question is on for scientist. Okay, yes, for scientist again, you need to have a very good like core technical knowledge actually. If you are going in embedded software or hardware, you should have very good knowledge on the fundamentals. So if you want to be in a signal processing, you should know about say the Fourier filter, to the Fourier transform to everything. You should have good mathematical knowledge and everything. And the hardware you are going, you should have good, very good knowledge on the circuits and other thing. Okay. uh, for no, one next question is, no, for a semiconductor, central government semiconductor companies are there, but there are not many opportunities there actually. You have Bharat Electronics, BHEL, and then I think semiconductor complex is also there. So I think they have their own exam, but I think nowadays they look a gate score also actually. Okay. The other question is that application engineer. Okay. No, no. I mean, if you want to become an application or test engineer, now MTech is not really mandatory. Yeah. So you can have a BTech, that is fine actually, and then you need to have good knowledge on the programming languages. Then again on the core technologies, processor and other things, and knowing MATLAB LabVIEW is again good actually. But if you want to go in R&D, doing MTech is always beneficial. R&D means so design or research and development actually, both activity. Yeah? So testing, MTech is not mandatory, and it will not add that much value actually. Okay. Except IC design. In VLSI design testing or verification, doing having MTech is always good, but not in embedded actually. Okay. Then a certification course, yeah, yeah. As I told you, you can do some CDAC courses or online learning courses and all actually. Like there are a lot of Raspberry Pi based courses and ARM processor based courses, in various online sites actually. You can learn that actually. So that is fine. And scope of RF engineering, yes, it is used in RF is used in IoT or in many products actually. So again, if you want to be in that, you can do masters in communication or microwave and other things actually. So you have opportunities there. Okay, so it's good actually. Again, you need to have very good knowledge, in electronics actually, the fundamentals actually, electromagnetics and microwave, and also so good knowledge on the circuits and other things. Okay. Then yeah, DSP based specialized courses, as I told, online you can find a lot of DSP courses, you can do it. Else you can do it, DSP based courses in Bangalore. Actually, there are a lot of institutes actually in Bangalore, like Cranes University or Ramaya. So there you can go to their website and find a lot of courses. Actually, online also you can learn many things actually in image processing and signal processing or speech processing. Then you learn that theory there, then you need to use that. I mean, like, they will give you certain examples, or some assignments, okay, etc. So you can implement that in a MATLAB. Okay, in first level you can use it in MATLAB, and second level, try to implement it in a DSP or FPGA. So that way you will learn that. Okay, so that will be very beneficial actually for you. Okay, so if you want to go in VLSI design, the first and foremost thing is that you need to have very good fundamental knowledge actually on the semiconductor physics and the digital electronics and other things. Okay, that's a mandatory thing actually, and why it is important is that this IC design is a very very expensive process. So any company who hire for you, they will do multiple round of interview, and that is the toughest job to get actually, really. Yeah. IC design or verification actually. Other all profiles are quite easy to crack the interview, but this is the toughest really. So if you want to go there, you should have a very good knowledge on fundamentals, and I recommend you to do MTech actually there. So that will be beneficial actually. You can do masters MTech in microelectronics or VLSI design. That's very beneficial. Okay. Okay, and the other question is on a summer industry experience. Yeah, you can, so that's what I told you. I mean, should have a first, to get into internship or some industry, say sort of training, and you need to have very good, core technical knowledge actually. Because before giving, any say internship or training, actually they will conduct interview. So you need to clear the interview. So you need to have good knowledge on the fundamentals actually. Okay, so and then you can try. As I told you already, you can, connect with the people in those companies, and try actually. There are a lot of small companies and startup actually. Okay, and yeah, any more questions actually? Okay, so yeah. Okay. Yeah. So the other question is that somebody has done an online course, okay, for machine learning in Coursera with MATLAB. Okay. So this is you can add this actually in your resume. So now what next step you could do is that you can use this machine learning in a few more applications. You can do some pattern image segmentation or pattern recognition or classification. Some small experiments you can do in MATLAB. Okay. And other step is that in your college you'll have evaluation board of FPGA and DSP. Try to implement this machine learning algorithms in VHDL or Verilog or in DSP processor. You do that actually. By doing that, your resume will have so much value, compared to others actually. You can do that actually. Whatever you learn here, okay, you implement it, in a hardware platform. Okay. Then. No, for image processing or machine learning, Python is not sufficient alone actually, because Python is only one part, okay, and then you need to know about the C and or C++, and also MATLAB, and also HDL, VHDL or Verilog. It is mandatory because you don't know in which industry you are going to work. You cannot predict actually. Suppose you are joining in say Wipro, so Wipro has signal processing and the projects actually. So sometime in your application they will ask you, okay, you develop a signal processing in a DSP processor. Okay, so there you will use C or C++ language. Okay, and same application, sometimes your other project could be like you have to do a PC based say like some image classification. Okay, so there they may use a VC, Visual C++ or something like that. Okay, so my point here is that Python is alone is not enough actually. You should have a knowledge in C++ or C is mandatory, and second is that you should know at least one of the HDL like Verilog or VHDL. That's mandatory. And MATLAB is also mandatory because sometimes you will be doing proof of concept or algorithm development, or some part of it where MATLAB is easier to do actually. You can do fast. Okay. uh, and the part-time work, so I recommend not to do that actually, really, in your engineering, because the problem is that the moment you start working now, you will lose focus in your study. Because the best thing in during your engineering, what you can do is that learn maximum things whatever you learn in college. You'll have a lot of development boards, develop something on that, do some programming there, and do a lot of online courses actually, and do that actually. Don't work actually. If you start working, you will lose a lot of time there actually. You will lose concentration there. Please don't do that actually. Okay. I mean, see, but you can do maybe like internship and other things, but don't do as part-time work actually, because it is difficult for you to manage both. Okay, then no, no, no. Six Sigma and all is not required. That's not required for freshers at all. It's only for experienced people. If you are having Six Sigma also, it's not going to add much benefit, because Six Sigma, to do Six Sigma, you'll be just doing training. That is not enough. You have to implement some project in that actually, right? That's only possible when you're working in a company. So you don't do it Six Sigma actually. That will not add any value as a fresher. But if you have experience, of course, do it actually. That will help. No, companies, see, bigger companies will not allow for, internship actually. It is very difficult to get in bigger companies. I agree. Mainly, if you want to get for internship in bigger companies, so typically they will give, say, only projects actually for MTech students. Okay, so it's difficult. So what you can do is that you can try in smaller company. That's what I told you. Like there are a lot of companies, say in Ahmedabad or in Surat, where like a weighing sale or different type of companies like energy meters, or so different type of companies actually. You can try in those small companies actually. Don't look at the company size or other thing. Don't expect or look for this stipend and other things. Look for the opportunities, what you can learn. Whatever effort you are spending, you will get a huge return. At the end, it's your skills and knowledge actually that matters actually. Okay, you can try in small company. That's what I told you. Learn basics, have a good skill set, then only you will get internship. Okay, and the other question is on the VLSI domain. VLSI domain, you have so many companies, starting from the service companies like E-Info Chip to L&T to TCS to HCL to Wipro to Infosys, uh, to all the semiconductor companies like Intel, Texas Instruments, NXP, Analog Devices. You have so many opportunities actually. Really, but as I told earlier, the domain is really difficult to crack, because it's like in a very expensive process, so the interview will be very tough. I mean, so you need to prepare very well on each and every subjects actually. It's quite difficult to crack actually. Okay, so having a ME MTech in VLSIDs and microelectronics is highly beneficial. Okay, and no, this type of exams and all, no, I don't think much benefit is really there. At the end, your technical knowledge matters actually. See, what a company or recruiter will look is that whether you have the required skill set for industry. So that's what I highlighted in the skill set. That is applicable for both freshers or experience. First and foremost step is to screen your shortlisting your resume actually. So you should have the skill set actually. What I've told actually. Then only in those domain you will get actually. Suppose uh, you can learn the courses. I know that's what one student has done a course on the machine learning, for example. He should implement the same algorithms or the practicals what he has done in MATLAB in an FPG and DSP. So that way you learn actually. So always have more skill set. This type of certification will not add any value actually. At the end, it's your skill set and the knowledge that matters for any company. That is important. Okay, so this type of things won't add any value. Do also 6 months of, please don't do it now actually. You can do after at least 2 years of experience, then it is beneficial. Okay, any more questions? If any, you have any questions on higher studies, or I mean different I mean job profile, say like say production or other things actually, you can let me know. Okay, if you have any more questions, you can type actually. Maybe we can have another 5 or 10 more minutes actually. Fine with me. Okay. Yeah, VLSI technology. No, no, no. VLSI technology is not getting saturated. See, it is like the VLSI technology is only going up actually, and that electronics and the microelectronics also going into nano electronics and other things, right? So this domain is there only. It is keep on moving, because you have to, main challenge in the VLSI industry is that they have to reduce the component size, reduce the power consumption to have a very high performance. Like your processor should be so fast actually, like so this technology is going up actually. and more integrations are happening. Earlier, if you see, you will have a separate amplifier, ADCs and other things. Now you will get a single IC from Texas and for multiple applications. So you can give the signal, you will get the output like that. Okay, so this domain is not getting saturated. There are too many opportunities, and lot of companies are coming to India. If you see, like, the companies like Apple or Samsung, lot of things are. So this domain is growing actually, really, really growing actually. Okay, so if no need to worry actually, and this is the highest paid job in industry also. It's paid almost like a 3 to 4 times of an IT engineer is paid actually. Okay, you need to understand that actually. At the same time, it's difficult to get also. Scope in yeah, scope in MS is also good. Communication you can do in Germany or anywhere in Europe. Again, doing masters in Europe is much better. The reasons are like, once you study from Europe, yeah, again, you'll, I think you'll have 1 more year visa available, so you can find job easily in any other country actually. And Europe is not like America, where, like, normally, Europeans, they don't do engineering, like that actually. So only few like local people will be there, so it's easy for you to get job in Europe actually. Okay, not like US. If you see, like, a lot of Chinese people are there, Koreans are there, so really the competition is too much actually, and getting visa is also quite complicated actually. So you can do MS in Europe. Communication domain is good. I mean, you can work in any industry with the communication, say like IoT to in any domain actually. Okay. And no, see, ARM processor also, you have a very, very high-end ARM processor. Here, high-end mobile phones also ARM processors are used. Okay, so as I told you, ARM processors are used, even in cloud, and such a very high performance processor there actually. So it is also, again, ARM processor is also designed by a company called ARM actually. The architecture ARM's R&D is in Bangalore. Okay, so they are hiring a lot of VLSI design engineers in verification and design, front and back end designs, and software development and algorithm development, etc. Okay, ARM's R&D is in Bangalore. Intel is there in Bangalore. You have IBM R&D center there also. They do a lot of designs, so a lot of opportunities. Okay. Yeah, you're doing Tech in NIT or MS in abroad. So this is a very good question. So see, you can do MTech in NIT. That is very good. Okay, I mean, they typically have good placement, and the tools and other things. Actually, you can do there, no problem. But you have to understand one thing. If you are doing a masters in abroad, few things you have to consider. One is the cost. Sometime if you are not getting any scholarship, you should be ready to pay 30 to 50 lakh for a masters in abroad. Okay, and then again, as I told you, you should have all these skill sets really to get a job actually. You assume that, I have a few of my colleagues and all who has done masters in abroad and all, including US, Germany, or in UK and all. So what happens is that, these people, like, they were not very, I mean, much aware of, like, what all skills required for getting job and all. So finally what happened, they couldn't get a job there. Okay, and then they came back to India, so they spent almost 40 lakh, and they came back into India and they joined, at same salary that what an NIT student is getting actually. So at the end, what happens is that, you don't plan it properly, it will be a loss for you actually. Okay, so you have to consider cost aspect. You don't think that, Indian companies will give preference to masters from abroad. Nothing is there like that actually. But if your specialization is good and your skills are good, of course you will get preference. But the salary, remains almost same actually. There won't be much difference actually, or mostly it will be same. Okay, so you have to be very clear. I mean, one is that you should have scholarship. Other thing is that you should have the skill set really, because you need to find job there, right, after your masters. Again, as I told you, the whatever skill set I told, it's applicable for across the globe. Any country you go, you need to have all these things actually. Whether it is Europe or Japan, or I mean Canada or anywhere actually. Okay. So you have to consider all these things. So when you want to do masters in abroad, you have to consider the cost involved. Don't blindly assume that you will get scholarship. Sometimes, consultants, will make students fool actually, and you need to do a good study on the course also. What you're going to do, what are the job availability in that and all. Blindly don't select actually. For example, if somebody want to do work in say like in a core electronics, and they want to say in core electronics, and some concerns say like you can do in New Zealand. Okay, one thing you need to here understand is that New Zealand has less companies in electronics field. Okay, so if you do a masters there, you won't get job there actually. So you'll have to come back to some other countries, right? So at the end, it will be a loss actually. And in the MTech in India is also not bad. Our syllabus is at par actually. You can compare the syllabus of say like other top universities in India and abroad actually. Yeah. So you can compare it. Only the advantage what you get in masters in abroad is that you will get a lot of opportunity for doing a PhD, etc. That is the biggest advantage you're going to get. If you are interested in doing PhD, yes, I recommend going for a masters in abroad. But if you want to work after MS in industry, so then again you have to consider if you get scholarship in in the good university, good specialization, then you can go for it. Okay. Any more
Yes.
questions?
Yeah, I have one question.
Yeah.
Like students in our Gujarat or let's say some other states, okay, they don't find electronics job easily due to less number of companies available in state. So what they do is they get diverted into IT because plenty of the companies are available in our state for IT. So what they should do, either they should go for IT or they should be determined that they should wait or they should get trained and get into the electronics only.
Because you see, this is a bit complex one. Because sometimes what happens is that I know people actually because so they can't go out of station or out of state. So what they do is that they will work in the field what they what opportunities are available. So that is something for like a personal choice actually. So some for example in Gujarat you will not have much opportunities in IC design for example. There will be only few companies like Info Chips and all, so there will be limited opportunity. Okay, so suppose somebody want to work in that, then again it's a problem for them actually. If they don't get job, then they may go some other field, right? So there we can't help actually. So you should be flexible there to move to a new location, because again you work in an IT company, that does not mean that you can work in your state. Sometimes they will send you for on site at customer site, right? Maybe for 6 months, 3 months, 1 year, or the more, even more actually, right? So that's a problem actually.
Do they get job easily in Pune or Bangalore in electronics?
Yes, there are so many companies. I told you, even Gujarat also. See, at the end, campus interview, see, like only few companies will come. Even if IIT also, if you see, like, semiconductor companies and all goes actually. But there are a lot of other companies also. But many companies will not go in campus. So they do off campus interview. Means off campus means, you have to try yourself actually. So that way you can find job. For example, somebody is interested to work in embedded. Okay, you can go try in a weighing scale company which is making a weighing scale, for example. You work there for 2 years, you get good experience, then you can try in a bigger company. So there is nothing wrong in that. At the end, what matters is your technical skill. Salary is depending on the skill set. It's not depending on which company you are coming from. That doesn't matter actually. It's your skill set and your experience. Okay, the only two things actually matters. So there are a lot of opportunities, so they can find it from net and also from LinkedIn actually. That's what I told you. There are a lot of startups actually. They can connect with the people there, and and they find it actually there in core. But again, you should be flexible to move to different locations. Sometime in the particular domain you may not have companies there, or there so like that actually. So you should be ready to work. For example, in signal processing or VLSA and all, Bangalore has got most of the opportunities, you can say. In core electronics or R&D, Bangalore or Hyderabad or in Chennai, if you take, that contribute at least 70% of India's opportunity there. Pune or Noida and all, remaining 30%, you can say. So you should. That's the reason most of the people are going to Bangalore or Hyderabad, etc. Right? For example, AMD has R&D center in Hyderabad. They do all the physical design and back-end designs and in all the software activities there, all the algorithm development, etc. Then Qualcomm is in Bangalore, Cisco is in Bangalore. You name any company, so like that actually. So you should be ready actually, because that's there is no option actually for that. Yeah, other question is okay. No, IoT is used every application. IoT is just application actually that's used in any industry. It's used in energy metering, or in automation, or in robotics, or in medical actually. So yeah, you can start also actually anything. But before you start, you need to do a market study. Yeah, because first and foremost thing is that whenever you start up something actually, your customer, you should have enough customers. You should do a market study. You should really study actually whether I will get some customers or any clients actually. Otherwise what happens, you will invest and you will not get any project actually. Okay, so you need to do good study. Again, you need to have good skill set there, because if you don't have skill set, you can't talk to a customer, right? Customer will talk in technical language actually. So for example, IoT, so they will ask how long it can work without battery, and how much distance the data can be transferred, and so on actually. So you should be able to answer, because there your technical knowledge is the main thing actually. Okay, any more questions? Hello.
Yes, sir. One question is there. You just scroll on.
Yeah. Okay. See, non-technical skills are also evaluated because this is sort of coming in part of a behavioral. Okay, so non-technical here, how it will help you. I'll tell you actually. Suppose, for example, you are teaching. Okay, so you will have a, in this case, good communication skills actually and interpersonal skills. So that will help you in your HR interview. And this volunteering is also considered, as a sort of experience actually. Okay, so that will also add value in your resume. For example, you are doing some social service, for example. So because by doing that, you will interact with a lot of people, so you'll your personality will develop there actually. You will know how to communicate with people, though it is a local language or whatever. I mean, you'll know how to convince the people, how to present your idea and so on. That will add a benefit actually. So you can add it that in your resume actually. Say like your achievement in sports or whatever thing, that is also important actually. No, the bond part, I don't think nowadays bond is there. If bond is there also, there is nothing wrong in it actually. What is wrong? Because see, you need to understand one thing, see, many students, what they do is that they join some company, and if salary is less, they will immediately switch over to another company. But that is very dangerous, The more you change the company, the less chance you get a good job actually. Because, companies want somebody who stays there for long. So if bond is there, it will be maximum for 2 years, right? It's not beyond that. So there is no problem. You accept the bond, but before accepting, you should also be very sure that that company is up to your expectation in terms of the work actually. Okay, so that's important. Okay, there is a no, mtech is not really mandatory actually, to get a good job. Okay, so the technical skills are important actually. Okay, so suppose I agree that you have financial concern, and and you want to start work. Okay, so always try to have the technical skills. I would do maximum projects, mini projects, work on all the evaluation boards in your college, highlight those in your resume, and then you can get job actually. mtech is not a mandatory criteria, but it is a very beneficial for resume shortening. But you can start your career actually without mtech also. So there's no problem. You have a good skill sets, what I told you, decide your career, do a proper planning, like what you want to do. If you want to go and say like an embedded system, I listed the skills required. Signal processing, I listed. So you need to have those actually, and then you can get job easily. Okay, any more questions?
I think no questions now. So should we wind up now?
Yeah, yeah, fine.
Okay, so thank you very much, Mr. Ranjit, for having us such a wonderful sessions on both the days, and you have answered the students' question very nicely with your experience. So all students are satisfied. I am getting excellent feedbacks. So thank you very much for helping the student community and spending your valuable time. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Do we have Dr. Hetal Patel? Madam, are you there? Okay, so like I think she is not there. So let's wind up the meeting. Thank you very much. I will send the PPT when Mr. Ranjit will send me. Thank
yeah,
you
yeah.
all the participants for having a interactive sessions. Okay, so thank you very much. Let's wind up the meeting. Thank you
Yeah,
all.
yeah, thanks a lot for inviting me, and it was a nice discussion actually. Okay, bye.
Thank you, sir. Bye bye.
Good luck to all. Bye.
Thank you. Participants are requested to leave. Okay, I'm ending the meeting once all of you will leave. Otherwise, I have to remove the participants. Please leave.